Hello, and welcome to Inside Outlook. I'm Jeff Havers, Superintendent of Pemberton Township Schools. Before winter break, we discussed the importance of limiting our cell phone usage time and our device time. And today, I like to follow up with the concept of cyberbullying. This is something that's affecting teens across the country as they spend more and more time on digital devices. Joining me today to discuss cyberbullying is our Assistant Director of Guidance and Health Services, Miss Rita Jenkins. Welcome, Miss Jenkins.
Hello, Mr. Havers. It's nice to be back on your show today.
Well, it's great to have you back. Ms. Jenkins, can you begin by telling us exactly what cyberbullying is?
Absolutely, Mr. Havers. It's the use of electronic communication to bully a person. And that really means that they are spreading lies. They're posting perhaps embarrassing photos of someone. They're sending hurtful messages, possible threats via any messaging platform. Sometimes they could even be impersonating someone else and sending very disturbing and inappropriate messages, again, through any type of a platform.
All right, that leads me to my next question. Do these bullying tactics take place solely on social media platforms?
Now, unfortunately, they can be distributed through email. They can go through cell phones via text. We certainly have a lot of different platforms, and even so much as gaming platforms, and that would be the world of Xbox and Nintendo, if that's still available, and PlayStation. So, unfortunately, there are a lot of ways, and again, it's wonderful communication, but if used inappropriately, that's where we see a real concern.
Sure, sure. How prevalent is cyberbullying in our society today? I know you talked about Xboxes and games and cell phones. Can you give us a little bit more detail?
So I did do some investigations regarding that, and girls are twice as likely as boys to be victims and perpetrators of cyberbullying specifically. And I also read a staggering statistic that 42% of kids have been bullied online, and almost 1 in 4 of them have had repeat, investigations, repeat incidents occur.
Wow, that is very concerning. Many teens are connected to these platforms at an age when their social and emotional development make them especially vulnerable to peer pressure. What type of effects can cyberbullying have on a preteen or teen?
Especially since we've returned after the pandemic, we've had so many mental health issues and concerns because of the isolation of our teens, Mr. Havers. But regarding cyberbullying specifically, a lot of data to support that there is depression, and unfortunately thoughts of suicide, and certainly a full suicide ideation that comes to a reality, and that's my biggest fear. And I pray we don't ever have to continue addressing something like that at our level here in our school district. But the reality is that some children feel so taunted and so ridiculed and so isolated because of the cyberbullying that they do, look to hurt themselves. Very sad.
Yes, it is, and we really need to keep a lookout for that. I know as a parent, I often think that my kids could be in the back seat of the car with their cell phone, being bullied, and I wouldn't know it unless they really come and tell me. They could, sadly, they could even be bullying somebody else from the back seat of the car, and that's a concern for me. I'm sure it's a concern for many parents, especially when you talk about the dramatic impact it can have on our children. So what can parents do to help, Ms. Jenkins?
Well, number one, I think they really need to stay informed. Number two, I think they need to monitor what their children are doing. I think it's very prudent of them to make sure that they have filters. I know Facebook and them have different kinds of browsing history apps that they can go back and look through. Again, it's important that parents certainly try to give their children independence, but in this world of, to your point, children being cyberbullied and perhaps not saying anything about it and keeping that all inside, that only leads to more, severe problems and mental health concerns. So I would definitely be a proponent of parents being heavily involved in watching what their children are doing and really monitoring their cell phones and their social media platforms.
Great. I know that's something that I have done with my children in terms of a filtering device, notification systems, also in terms of making sure I'm a friend if there or linked into the account. Doesn't always make my kids happy when I've done that, but that is something I felt I needed to do as a parent, because it is a real challenge, and you want to support your kids. We all want to support our kids. Ms. Jenkins, you also serve as our district's anti-bullying coordinator. Can you tell us how cyberbullying is handled in our schools?
Absolutely. We follow the New Jersey Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, as do all schools in the state of New Jersey. And of course, cyberbullying certainly is in that proponent of harassment, intimidation, and bullying. And therefore, every time we have any notification at the building level, the administrators and the counselors work together and they do HIB investigations to determine exactly what has happened. And they look at the preponderance of evidence to determine whether or not that cyberbullying in this particular conversation would be deemed as a founded HIB investigation or unfounded. And I just want to add, from my perspective, again, as a former teacher and counselor and serving my entire career here in Pemberton Township School District, it's still so disturbing to me when I look at some of the investigations, because once they are done at the building level, they come to me, as you know, and I look them over and I take the time to go through and I look at the evidence. And so often it is Snapchat pieces of a conversation, it's emails or text threads, or it's comments that are made on Facebook and Twitter. And, I read them and I don't even know the people involved, and I know how I feel in the gut of my stomach. And it would just make me so sad if I were that age and saw what children are writing potentially about me. And a lot of times they're not friends. They don't even know each other. They're just spreading rumors and gossip. And it just leads to very unsettled environments. And it's certainly not a great way to enhance our school culture and our school climate. So I really implore students to step up and take the challenge and be that upstander. Don't sit by and let things happen. Speak up, interject, get involved, because being an upstander is the goal here. We don't want to just allow children to be bystanders and watching it happen, taking out their cell phones and videotaping, not so pleasant situations. And unfortunately, we do see that.
Right. Thank you very much, Ms. Jenkins. I really appreciate you sharing that information with us, especially about what we can do as a school community to make sure we stand up. We're not going to be bystanders. We're going to support each other. We need to be really careful about what we see and what we post on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook. And if we do see something, or if we're aware of something, anybody in the school community, what should we do?
Absolutely do not hesitate to contact the school and report it. Whether it's a teacher through a dojo message, whether it's calling a counselor, reaching out to the building administrator, once we have knowledge of it, we certainly will investigate. Our goal is to protect the children, and we certainly want to stop cyberbullying at any cost.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ms. Jenkins. You gave us a lot of valuable information today, and we appreciate you sharing your knowledge and expertise. Do you have any final tips to share before you conclude?
I do. Just a few thoughts. Please, students, think before you talk. Think before you type or post something. Words are forever on the internet. And lastly, just know that positive influence and attitude certainly makes a difference, and we must, as a community, stand up against cyberbullying.
Well, thank you very much. I know I learned years ago at a workshop the message that whatever we post, whatever we type, whatever email, whatever message we send, it's public and it's permanent. And we need to be really cautious and be really thoughtful about those messages that we send that are going to be public and permanent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Jenkins. Now, a few reminders before we go. Early registration for our 2022-2023 Early Childhood Program begins this month. Our free full-day educational preschool program is open to all 3- and 4-year-olds in Pemberton Township, including families living on the joint base. Details on how to register are listed on your screen and posted on the district website. Our next Board of Education meeting takes place tonight, January 20th, with the work session at Pemberton Township High School at 6:30 p.m. The January action meeting will take place next Thursday, January 27th at 6:30 p.m. in the Pemberton Township High School auditorium. Next Friday, January 28th, is an in-service day for staff members, and there will be no school for students. That's our show for today, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Inside Outlook.